Hey guys, what's up? It's Erica and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a storytime video talking about my horrible roommate from a few years ago. I have thought about doing this video for a really long time, but it is kind of weird talking about someone and putting them on the internet. I'm not gonna be saying her name or anything, and I feel like it's been 3 years since I lived with her, and so not that really anyone watches these videos of mine, but it would be really difficult to find her anyways, and I don't think she would ever watch this. I hope that no one takes this video in the wrong way, and I'm not trying to be mean or anything. I think these videos are pretty entertaining and it's fun to hear these different stories. It's the beginning of the school year for a lot of people, so people might be going through this right now and realizing that their roommate is absolutely crazy. I definitely wish I would have handled the situation differently, and I'll explain that throughout this video. And so if you're looking for some solace that other people have bad experiences and live through it, here I am. Yeah, this video doesn't need so much of an intro, but I just don't want to offend anyone or make anyone feel weird. So if you would like to continue watching this video, please do so. I'm going to start off this video by giving some background. A lot of the videos that I've watched on these horror roommate stories, people were moving in with someone that they didn't know, and that wasn't the case. This was going into my second year of college, and I was friends with the girl that I was about to be living with. Basically what had happened was me and two of my really good friends were looking for a place, and we had one other girl. We were looking at this 2-bedroom townhome. And then one of the girls backed out last minute, and I knew this girl. Let's just call her Claire. So I found out that Claire needed a roommate for our second year, so I asked her, and because I was the one who knew her best out of me and my other two friends, I said that I would share a room with her, and I was honestly really excited. I really liked her. She was a foreign exchange student, which I thought was really cool, getting to know someone from a completely different country. We had a lot of the same interests. She was fun to hang out with too. We would go out to parties together, and I knew her more in a social fun setting. I kind of forget small things that happened. Also, there are some things that I'm just not even gonna say in this video just because they were so gross that I would feel weird saying them and putting it online. But there is more to the story than what I'm saying, but I will spill as much as I feel comfortable doing online. But basically we moved in, and pretty quickly it was obvious that chores were not something that she was really going to participate in. We were not the type of people to make a chore chart or anything like that. It was kind of if you see that something needed to be done, like taking out the garbage or, washing a few plates, you would just do that. We're all friends in this house, help each other out. Probably a month into it, I think one of my roommates asked her if she would mind taking out the trash can just because she hadn't done it. And she just created a lot of trash in the house. And when we asked her, she was like, oh, can we just buy a bigger trash can so we don't have to take it out as much? Which we're kind of well, the house just smells. It smells like trash. So no, we can't just buy a bigger trash can. And she never did take the trash out unless we asked her, and then she would. She wasn't a horrible confrontational person in that sense. Well, she kind of was later in the story, but it was when anything needed to be done, we had to ask her, which was just annoying. I also became the person that she texted when any small thing went wrong. The Wi-Fi wasn't working, or the printer didn't work, and I'm not a techie person. I don't know why she thought I could fix all these things, but I would be at school and she'd be like, it's broken, and I can't fix it. So those were just annoying small things. Me and my friends definitely made a lot of mistakes throughout this story, and definitely we've all grown from it. I don't think we were horrible people. She and I shared a bedroom, and I had bought a full-length mirror to hang up in our room, which was meant for us to share. It was a tiny room. But she would, no joke, stand in front of the mirror for over an hour taking selfies. And she would do this thing where she would put her Snapchat on airplane mode so she could post all of them, but they wouldn't actually post. And then she would have us all look at all of them to tell her which one we thought looked good. and she was just like overly obsessed with herself, like just so into taking photos of herself and her appearance online. One time we ordered pizza and like we opened the box and we're like about to eat it and she's like, no, like I have to take my Snapchat of it, which is like fine. I know a lot of people are like that these days, and including myself, I can be like that. But this was like an everyday thing of taking hundreds of photos in front of the mirror. And like we would be in bed and it would be like lights out, dark, and all of a sudden like I would just see this flash go off because she's taking Snapchats in her bed. She definitely wanted to be like included and would get really easily offended if we all walked in and like she wasn't with us. She'd be like, oh, where were you guys? And we were like, oh, you know, like we were at the gym, you weren't home when we left. So that was kind of weird because she definitely just wanted to do things her way, where when we would invite her to go do something, she just wanted to do her own thing. I think just wanted us to like tag along with what she wanted to do. Another weird thing she did was she asked one of my roommates if she would cook for her. She was like, she just didn't want to cook, and my roommate was just like, no, I'm not gonna cook for you. She definitely did come from a lot of money. She had plastic surgery done, which there's nothing wrong with that, but like we were 19 and I think she was just used to a different lifestyle. Then there was also just like, she was just not aware of herself, I think. Every time she would go in the bathroom, she would be in there for forever, which was fine. Like we had 2 bathrooms. She had like her 3 favorite songs at the time and she would play them on repeat. And it was just annoying and kind of inconsiderate because like we can all hear, and just her music would constantly be playing. She'd just be walking around like holding her phone with whatever she was doing. She would talk on the phone all the time. It was just weird because I don't think that she picked up on the fact that we were getting annoyed with her too. Another thing we just didn't like was that she used a lot of guys. She had a very inflated sense of self. At first, like I was like, oh, good for her, you know, she's like really confident in herself. She could not understand why a guy wouldn't like her back when she liked guys, and she would just use a lot of guys. She wanted to like get free dinners out of them, which I don't really know why because she had a lot of money, but I don't know, it was interesting. She didn't really like care about messing with their feelings, and I feel like that's kind of what bothered me because I really don't like that. So all that aside, something that I will say that I really regret doing, and I know my 2 friends did too, was we had been friends and so we had like had our group chat since our freshman year, and we would talk about her in the group chat, and they weren't like horribly mean things. It was more just like venting when something would happen of like, oh my god, she, you know, left all of her plates out, or she would always like never completely close the front door, which is just annoying because it's like, please lock our front door. It's kind of like scary. We're all girls living in this like townhome. At the time it seemed harmless because it was like none of us really wanted to talk to her about it. It was kind of uncomfortable. It just kind of seemed like venting, and we didn't mean it to be mean or for her to ever find out about it. Basically, where the story starts to take a turn is one day I came home from class and she told me that her computer was broken. I was like, oh, like I'm gonna take a nap right now if you want to use my computer. She wanted to watch Netflix, so I was like, okay, you can use my laptop and watch Netflix while I take a nap. And I'm sure you guys can all figure out what happened. She saw the text on my laptop. Like that night, she gave me my laptop back and it was fine. And we were having a party that weekend and we had like told her, invite whoever you want, made sure it was cool with her. She last minute decided to go camping, and one of my roommates was just like, have you noticed that she's been acting really weird? And I was just kind of like, yeah, like I kind of had this weird feeling that maybe she went through messages on my laptop when I let her borrow it. Honestly, I didn't really care if she was in like a bad mood or whatever. So I was like, she's going on this camping trip, whatever, like we'll see her after. Oh yeah, but I do want to mention this, that when I first started worrying that maybe she had gone on my laptop, I looked at my messages and went to the exact like time she was on it to see if she would have clicked on it, what she would have seen, and there was nothing about her. Not like her name wasn't anywhere or anything like that, and like I think you had to scroll up through like a week's worth of messages, and like we were like best friends, so we were texting a lot, and it wasn't just all about her, you know, like just life and whatever. I was like, she would have really had to like go through these messages to find anything about herself. And the next morning after the party, I went into my friend's room and we were just talking about the party, and she came in and was just like, girls, I need to talk to you, and had all these notes written on her phone, and she like read off direct quotes from the text, and like at first we were just so caught off guard because it was so just like out of the blue. We were just kind of like, what? Like she just flipped out and was like screaming and was just like saying that we were like horrible, nasty people. Yeah, what we did wasn't necessarily right. I can say that for all of us. We wish that we wouldn't have said those things, especially if they did hurt her. But she just like went off, and I like started crying and was like also kind of laughing. I'm really uncomfortable in those types of situations, and it was like kind of funny, and it was also like horrifying, like I can't believe this is my life. And I'm sure that didn't help or make the situation any better. As in the wrong as we were, she didn't see herself in the wrong at all. I think that most people, if they were to find that people were talking about them, especially their roommates, you would kind of take it as a time to reflect and be like, okay, yeah, this was really hurtful to read, but yeah, I'm not like contributing. I do these things that are inconsiderate, maybe confronting them, and then also like maybe realizing something in yourself. Like, I understand being mad. She just thought we were the worst people ever to have ever thought like one negative thing about her. We had a leasing office, and so I went over and I was like, can I get like a roommate exchange thing? Even though like you sign up for your roommate, but I was just thinking like maybe someone would want to switch rooms or whatever. I didn't want to leave. I wanted her to leave. I never ended up giving her the paper though. I was really surprised though, because this all happened right before winter break, and I was thinking like this is the perfect time. She can move out. Like why would you want to live with people that you don't get along with and like know that they don't really like you? One of my roommates sat down with her and talked to her, just like, you know, I don't want to live in a household that is uncomfortable and hostile, and just like tried to talk with her, and she really just didn't want to have anything to do with it, and she like apologized and was just like, I'm so sorry, like this is just not going to be effective though to live in a household where we aren't speaking. Okay, I gave her a made-up name, but I have only been referring to her as she. So that was kind of stupid, but whatever. Honestly, like, it was horrible after that, because I was really mad for like a while, and I'm not like a person who gets really angry, like holds grudges, but it just like made me really upset that she didn't see anything wrong in anything that she had done. Like going through my laptop and like reading those messages, and just like see any fault in her as a roommate. I didn't really like want to make amends. I was just like hoping she was gonna move out, but she never did. Basically for the next 6 months that we lived there, we didn't say a word to each other, which was horrible. And if you're going through this, I mean, it was a weird situation because I really wanted her to move out, and I like didn't understand why she didn't want to, just for like both of our happinesses. It's really uncomfortable sharing a room with someone that you literally don't talk to. Her bed was right across from the door, and when I would walk in, like we would just not even make eye contact, like not smile. Like the only time we would talk is like maybe if I was like in her way, I'd be like, oh sorry. It wasn't like angry, but it was just awkward. As much as I didn't like her, I still didn't want to be like a horrible roommate, and I felt like I needed to be so like careful. I didn't want to do anything to annoy her, and I do understand like probably from her perspective it was really hard to be the one person who didn't have a single friend in the house, and then living with like these 3 best friends. And although I would say like we were really good roommates to her, like we kept the house clean, cleaned up after her, and we're still like considerate of her. And she would just like find really small things, like, oh, like who took this of mine, and it was like, it was right over there, like no one took it of yours, even though she used everything of ours, which was fine because obviously she was coming from across the world, and like she couldn't bring as much of her own stuff as we could. It was just like so frustrating. It was horrible. Honestly, like I don't have another word for it other than it was horrible. Like she basically, after like the whole fight, she just got worse. She was like understandably mad and just like wanted to, I guess, make us more mad. By the end of the year, like, our room was disgusting. On her side of the room, there were literally tissues all over the floor. She had so many mugs on her desk, and I would send my mom photos. It was so gross. And I'm not like a super clean person by any means, but like, I'm not trying to live in absolute filth. And she was literally, had all these mugs, and they had these like huge circles of mold that were just like floating around. It was one of the grossest things I've ever seen. And just like so many bags of food on the floor, and it was just gross. I hated living in there. And then like, I'd want to open the window and like air it out, and then she would be like, oh, it's like too cold in here, and like want to close the window, which is fine. But it was like, this room is disgusting, and we are literally going to die from all the gross stuff that is growing in here. One night, there was like a few weeks left before the year was over, and I had been out at a party with some of my friends, and I came back, and I think I was like already kind of emotional and not in the best state. One of the things we would like ask her to do is that she would leave our front door open all the time. And when we had left for this party, we were like with friends, and one girl I think had accidentally left our front door open. And so I think she saw this as her opportunity to sort of like nag us the way she felt we had nagged her. And she had texted us, and we had responded like, oh my god, so sorry, like, I think our friend was the last one to leave the house. So then she like came down and like started telling me about it, and I was like, yeah, like, I know we responded, I'm sorry, it was open, it's closed now. I was not in the best state, and I just kind of started like mumbling things to her, all these like pent up feelings, and I don't really think she heard them. I don't even remember what she was saying, but she was just trying to kind of like get into it with me, and I was just like, why are you trying to make a fight right now? We have lived in silence for 6 months, we're moving out in like 3 weeks. Please do not talk to me. Like, I don't want to get in an argument with you. I don't want to have a conversation. Like, this is just like over. Me and my friends, since we're all from California where we went to college, we went home right at the beginning of summer, and she was going to stay in the place for like a week or two, and we were going to come back like halfway through the summer and like clean it out and completely move out. But obviously, like, you would expect her to leave the place somewhat clean and like clean her portion, but I think her last bit of like trying to get back at us was she left the place literally so disgusting. It was just like horrible, and it was very clearly on purpose. Me and my friends know we were in the wrong. We should have never talked about her in those text messages, and honestly, there would have been a lot of better ways to handle it. Trying to talk with her about our issues with her as a roommate. Also, definitely move out if you're in a bad living situation. Like I said, it affected my entire year so much more than I even realized. I hope you guys enjoy this story, and maybe you learned something on how to deal with your crazy roommate. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video.
If you're not liking and subscribing, then get the f off this channel.